A single family, bankers, not kings, was accused of controlling every government on earth. Not through armies, not through elections, through money, shadows, and a 36-page pamphlet written by a man who signed his name as Satan. The Rothschilds didn't seek world domination. But for over 150 years, millions of people believed they had already achieved it. So how did one Jewish banking family become the face of the world's most enduring conspiracy theory, and what does that say about the world that believed it? The story starts not in a palace, but in a ghetto. Frankfurt, 1740s. Meyer Amschel Rothschild was born in the Frankfurt Jewish ghetto, cramped, walled off, shut out. His family was religious. He trained to be a rabbi, but when his parents died young, the prayers had to wait. He needed income. He found work as an apprentice at a banking house. Not by passion, by necessity. For centuries, European authorities had squeezed Jewish communities into a narrow corner of the economy, barred from owning land, excluded from most trades, confined to their ghettos. There was one door left open: money lending. All three Abrahamic faiths technically prohibited lending money with interest, but only within your own religion. A Christian needed a loan, he went to a Jewish lender. The Jew could charge interest. The Christian got his money. Seemed like a fair arrangement. But it wasn't. Because the only time most Christians ever saw their Jewish neighbors was when the debt collector came knocking. And nobody likes that knock. Over generations, Jews built a reputation not for resilience or ingenuity, but for greed. An anti-Semitic trope, born from a system they never chose, forged in resentment they never deserved. Meyer Amschel worked the system better than anyone. He climbed the ranks, eventually earning the title of court Jew to a Hessian nobleman, yes, a real title, for a real job, essentially serving as personal banker and accountant to the wealthy and powerful. He was sharp, disciplined, and relentlessly ambitious. He opened his own banking house. Then he did something that would change his family's fate forever. He sent his 5 sons across Europe. One to London, one to Paris, one to Vienna, one to Naples. One stayed home in Frankfurt. By the mid-1800s, the House of Rothschild had become the most powerful private banking network on the continent. The 5 brothers, elevated to Austrian barons in 1822, the first Jewish family to enter European nobility, pioneered the modern sovereign bond market and coordinated like a private intelligence service, moving gold and information faster than any government could. They financed armies. They brokered the loan that let Britain acquire the Suez Canal. They served as bankers to the czars. They helped Brazil raise the funds to buy its freedom from Portugal. And Nathan in London was even officially commissioned by the British government in 1814 to supply the gold that paid Wellington's troops. They were rich, connected, and they were Jewish, which made them, in the eyes of a deeply anti-Semitic Europe, the perfect target. The Rothschilds were not just successful, they were spectacularly successful, operating at the highest levels of European power. They rubbed shoulders with kings and prime ministers. They moved money across borders at a time when no one else could. And when you are that visible, that wealthy, and that connected, people start asking questions. Not honest questions. Dangerous ones. For centuries, Europeans had told themselves a story. Jews were greedy, manipulative, conspiring. So a Jew couldn't simply be successful through talent, discipline, and centuries of being pushed into finance. There had to be a darker reason. Enter a man named Georges Mathieu d'Arenvael, and his spectacular pen name, Satan. In 1846, Satan, yes, he signed his pamphlet Satan, published a 36-page French-language bombshell titled The Edifying and Curious History of Rothschild I, King of the Jews. It was fiction dressed as expos, part of a heated pamphlet war that also slammed James de Rothschild for supposedly skimping on French railroad safety and causing a deadly derailment. And its central accusation would echo through history for the next 2 centuries. According to Satan's pamphlet, here is what supposedly happened on June 18, 1815, the day of the Battle of Waterloo. Nathan Mayer Rothschild, Mayer's son and head of the London branch, allegedly stood on the battlefield watching Napoleon's forces make their bloody final stand. The moment Napoleon fell, Nathan sprinted for the English Channel. A fierce storm had grounded every ship. Nathan bribed a fisherman to row him through the waves. He arrived in London a full 24 hours before anyone else knew the outcome of the war. He used that window, that stolen, secret knowledge, to buy up stocks that the war had driven into the ground. Then, when news of Wellington's victory finally broke and the markets exploded upward, Nathan Rothschild walked away with 20 million francs. Insider trading on a national scale. A Jewish banker manipulating the markets of an entire empire for personal gain. It was the perfect villain story. It was also completely fabricated. Historians have confirmed that Nathan Rothschild was nowhere near Waterloo that day. He was in London the entire time. He had no advance knowledge of the battle's outcome beyond what his legitimate courier network delivered, and the first authentic public news actually came from a courier straight out of Ghent, shared openly before official dispatches arrived. He made no fortune defining trade, just modest gains on government bonds for a handsome overnight return, far smaller than what rivals pocketed. Satan even invented the storm, and he wrote all of this in 1846, 30 years after the battle and a decade after Nathan's death, when the man could no longer speak for himself. Never let the truth get in the way of a good story. The ultimate irony? The Rothschilds themselves had helped finance the British victory over Napoleon that the myth claimed they exploited. The pamphlet sold tens of thousands of copies across Europe. When the facts surfaced, the conspiracy didn't collapse, it evolved. Nathan wasn't at Waterloo? Fine, he sent an agent. No channel crossing? A carrier pigeon. And then the embellishments began. Nathan hadn't just bought stocks on secret information, he had actively spread false rumors first, artificially crashing the market before swooping in to buy. None of it was true. All of it spread anyway, because confirmation bias is a powerful thing. Europeans who already believed Jews were greedy and manipulative didn't need evidence. The story simply confirmed what they already knew. Shockingly, even the prestigious 1911 Encyclopaedia Britannica repeated the libel as fact. And once you believe a family is powerful enough to profit from a world war, it's not a big leap to believe they control the next one. The lie even inspired Nazi propaganda, turned into a full 1940 film by Joseph Goebbels to stoke hatred. Today, most people have never heard of Satan's pamphlet. But they've heard of the Rothschilds. The name has become a code word, a way to invoke a shadowy Jewish cabal without saying Jewish. Swap out the Jews for the Rothschilds and suddenly you're not anti-Semitic, you're just questioning the elites. It's consistently one of the most viral and searched conspiracy theories on social media. People claim the Rothschilds own the U.S. Federal Reserve. They don't. That they control the weather? They can't. That they used space lasers to start the California wildfires to clear land for a high-speed rail project. A claim actually made by a sitting U.S. Congresswoman. That Mr. Burns from The Simpsons was based on Lord Jacob de Rothschild, confirmed false by Matt Groening himself. Some conspiracists believe the family sits on a secret fortune of $500 trillion, which is, for context, $50 trillion more than the entire estimated private wealth in the world. As for who the Rothschilds actually are today, still primarily a banking family through the respected advisory firm Rothschild & Co., which helps governments and corporations with open mergers and acquisitions, though many members have moved into art, wine estates like the legendary Chateau Lafite, and Chateau Mouton Rothschild, and environmental causes. Much of their historic wealth was seized during the Holocaust, Austrian palaces plundered, French branches nationalized. What remains funds charitable work across many causes, including Jewish ones. And here's the twist history loves to bury. Baron Edmund de Rothschild poured millions into early Zionist settlements in Palestine, buying vast tracts of land and founding agricultural villages like Rishon LeZion that helped birth modern Israel. It was Lord Walter Rothschild who received the 1917 Balfour Declaration promising a Jewish homeland. The very family painted as global puppet masters actually helped lay the foundations of the Jewish state. The conspiracy didn't survive for 150 years because it was convincing. It survived because it was useful. It gave frightened, resentful people a face to put on their fear. And that face was Jewish. The pamphlet written by Satan became the blueprint for modern antisemitism. Dress hatred in the language of financial critique, replace Jews with a surname, and watch it spread across centuries and platforms with equal ease. A poll from the Anti-Defamation League found that roughly 70% of people who hold anti-Semitic views have never actually met a Jewish person. People who know Jews are far less likely to believe these stories, which means the most powerful counter to a 180-year-old conspiracy theory isn't a fact check, it's a conversation. The Rothschilds didn't control the world. But the lie that they did,
in the 19th century,
that
factories,
controlled a
their
lot
name
of it.
echoed through collapsing
Subscribe
empires
for upcoming
as myths
stories.
burned away.